Hey there, guys. My name is Colten Dietz, and I'm a director, writer, and producer. I've been in the DGA now for about 3 years, and I just kind of wanted to give you guys some filmmaking advice for those of you who are smart enough not to go to film school, or those of you who are smart enough to go to film school. So a little bit about me. I've directed, God, too many projects to count. I've gotten projects financed. I've gotten projects distributed. I've produced projects. I've edited films. But primarily I would say I'm a director and producer. So I kind of wanted to just make this video for people trying to get financing for films, and maybe they're, maybe frankly they're not doing too well or too hot at this. I apologize for this really shitty ass setup. We're moving equipment. We were filming a video. And so I'm just shooting this on my iPhone. I was shooting a little thing for my horror film I'm directing right now. So I bought a bunch of old TVs and everything's just a mess in the house right now. But anyways, basically I just kind of wanted to go over the steps of getting financing for a film, because it's a lot different than a lot of people might think. For instance, one good example is this: when you're shooting like trying to get financing for a film, a lot of people I see make the same mistake. They write a screenplay and basically, and I've seen it on all the forums, and it's like, I wrote a script, now what? It's like, dude, you didn't plan for that. And one advice I can give you, and I'm going to make a bunch of segments of this video, is you need to make a really good pitch deck. And of course, I'll make future videos on this about how pitch decking works and all this stuff, but you need to approach and get actors name, and I don't mean your buddy who's a local theater actor or some non-union actor attached. Again, it's no offense to that. I have plenty of friends who are non-union and union actors. My point is, and barely union actors, my point is, investors don't care about that. There's a lot of names I can help you get them attached and explain how to get them attached. You want them to sign a letter of intent to do your film. If you can get them to sign a full-on contract, even better, because you're showing the investor that, like, hey, no matter what, this person's going to be doing the movie as long as we get it financed. Whereas a letter of intent is more of just kind of like I like your script, kid, I'll do it, what the hell. But they could drop out of it. And investors are smart enough to know that. And you don't, of course, want to lie to an investor. But anyways, that will be a different segment at a different time. I'm going to make this, I'll try to do 2 to 3 videos a week if you guys like. But basically, when it comes to film financing, so I've successfully financed 6 projects now, multiple feature films, as well as, like I said, a really awesome 35-minute short film I'm directing with a few names attached. And each time is the same thing. So the investors I have, and this is what I suggest for you, you need to build relationships with business owners. Because the fact of the matter is, and I don't know if any of you have worked in sales, I have in the past, is that in sales, they're buying into you. My investors, to be frank, I've had investors sign checks over for like $10,000. They didn't even read the script. They didn't even look at my pitch deck. They didn't even look at like my business strategy, my plan, who I was going with distribution. Those are great to have, don't get me wrong, because you are going to speak to investors, especially as you expand. Like my next film I'm directing, we're putting about $500,000 together to shoot it on. And so I'm working with a lot of investors who don't know me. So of course, it's good to know those things. It's good to have them, because just because an investor might not ask for it, trust me, you want to have it prepared. Otherwise, you're going to look like a moron, and you don't want to make investors wait for you, because then they'll think you're not reliable, and then you don't get the cash to produce your content. So, like I said, you want to build professional relationships with people that own businesses. And what do I mean by that? I mean, dentists, chiropractors. Maybe you got in an accident, you got to know a chiropractor. Maybe your local physician, you're someone who owns a private practice. One of my first investors was actually my first job out of high school. I was a Papa John's delivery boy, and I won't say his name because I didn't ask him to be in this video, but basically in the Phoenix, Arizona area, he owns, I think it was 3 or 4 different Papa John's pizzas. And again, those aren't people that are going to give you millions of dollars, because that's not the kind of income they bring in. But when you're starting out, one, go to boss A that knew you. You get 5 grand from him. Go to someone else who owns a business, 5 grand from them, 10 grand from them, 3 grand for her, 1 grand for her. Next thing you know, you have $25,000, $30,000. And again, that doesn't seem like a lot of money, but if you're good at organizing a production and making deals with people, 30 grand, especially when you're filming outside of Los Angeles, can go. Sorry, my cat got in the way. 30 grand can go pretty far, especially when you're shooting outside of union states like Los Angeles or New York. A good example, I shot my mystery crime thriller Exposure. We didn't have huge names on it, but we had Eric Roberts, which everyone knows in the industry. He's like, I mean, a high school kid could basically get him as long as you have a paycheck for him. And we had a few other named talent, people from like Breaking Bad. Like I had an actor named Tank Jones. My main actor was in Two Guns. So, the whole cast was union actors, but just by planning, making a half decent script, I was able to get a good cast together that would be quality. And then I made a lot of deals with people but anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about that. So back to I'll move that on to a different segment of how to do pre-production properly. When it comes to film and investment, like I said, you want to have a proper plan laid out. And like I said, you want to have everything, not you don't want to go to your investors when you're putting it together. You want to have everything. You want to have the professional deck made. You want to have the letter of intents or contracts with who's going to be in the film. You want to have you want to have your return of investment ROI put together. You want to have, are they going to get royalties? You want to have that all planned out, because those are questions investors are going to ask. Even if they know you, they're going to ask, wait a minute, Colten, what does this mean in the contract? What does 125% mean? And just so you know, in film, and this is all the way to the tippity top, like Disney and Universal Studios and all that stuff, typically a return of investment for filmmaking is about 125%. So, if you give me 1,000, I'm giving you, $1,250. Typically the big monies in investment are in royalties. Now, I do suggest a good example is don't give a royalty away unless they're at least giving you about 10,000. Then maybe throw 1% of your film in, because remember, when you distribute the film, a good distribution deal is typically going to be taking 35 to 45%, somewhere in that range. So, you don't want to make it where you work your butt off on a film and a script and all that stuff for years, and then by the time you sell it and get it distributed, you as the creator and person who put all that time together is only getting like 5% back on the back end. That would suck. So yeah, no, but like I said, it's key to know your investors personally. A good story. I worked on this terrible, god-awful golf movie. The people behind it, the producer and writer, were just egomaniacs. But anyways, the investor of the film, he loved me. His daughter respected me on set. His daughter was an actress on set. And, so I hit him up, and he was a genuine dude, and we got along. And, that was like my first main investor I got for a film. And then I've gotten other money to help with post-production work on films. And I've gotten money from investors. I did a found footage horror movie not too long ago. And again, I approached one of my friends about that. And then I've approached people online about it. It's again, there's a tactic we say in sales, which is like, you're for every 100 or 99 no's, you'll get a 1 yes. So as long as it's a numbers game, you're going to get people who are going to invest in you. It's are you willing to talk to them? Do they know you? And if they don't know you, do you have a proper game plan planned out? Again, I've gotten investors who don't know me from Jack, besides from film forums online and pages, and I just reached out to them directly and piggybacked them off of one crappy project, put them on a higher quality project, and they were more excited about doing the film with me than the other filmmakers. I didn't screw the other filmmakers over. I just saw their quality of content versus my team's quality of content, and I could show them that we do a better job. Because I hate to break it to you as well, but if you are someone that went to film school, you're wrong in the fact that films are graded. If they look like crap, if audio is garbage, if the lighting's terrible, distributors can tell that. They can say, why does this not, they might not know why, but they're going to say, why does this not look like a movie? And a great example to help get investors on board too, shoot some short films. If you were trying to finance a horror film, which is what I'm doing right now, I'm financing a horror thriller film, kind of like Seven. Me and a few of my crew members, we shot it with the Skeleton crew, but we shot a Silent Hill fan film. It's very, very high quality. It's currently in post-production editing right now. We had a few names attached to it, but I did that so I could show investors who don't know me that our team can handle a very high quality thriller film. And so you're building that rapport. That way, if they're looking you up, they're not seeing crap from college or high school. They're like, oh, these kids, they know what they're doing. They know how to shoot a movie. And then, of course, like I said, never, ever, 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 ever promise an investor something you can't get. So a good example of that is, if you're approaching distributors, a lot of small distribution companies will sign on your film saying they'll distribute your movie. Now, granted, if you read the documents in their contract agreement, their distribution, to put it blunt, sucks. But the benefit of that is you can put it in your pitch packet. You're not lying. You're clearly stating, hey, I got these names attached. I got distribution. Again, a great example for investors' sake. Distributors don't really care about this, but like I said, you can get quite a few name talent that people recognize, like Eric Roberts and Richard Grieco on your film, for basically confirming you have a paycheck. They'll sign a contract with you. Even before you have the money, they'll sign it just to help you finance the project. Anyways, you can put those names in with a contract letter of intent for them. And that's not forcing you to work with them, because you might want higher quality talent if you end up raising, your full budget. But you can put that together, put some really C-list garbage distribution contracts in there that people sign, and then you can show investors, hey, we got name talent, we got distributors, and trust me, lawyers, doctors, anyone with half a brain, business owners, they'll pay attention to that. They'll be like, oh, I know that guy. I know Eric Roberts. I know, and again, I know in the industry, he's in like 600 projects a year. No one really cares. Distributors don't care. But the fact is the average person outside of Los Angeles is like, holy cow, you got Eric. I'm going to meet Eric Roberts. And all they're thinking is like Julia Roberts and, but like it's all about planning. And again, that's not lying to them. You're being honest. You're showing the investor you have all your ducks in a row. But again, just know that when you make those agreements with those distribution companies, make sure you put a clause in the contract that you're not forced to use them, because, like I said, there is very, very, very bad distribution companies. And you don't want to get yourself locked in a box working with them, because they will not make your movie money. But when it comes to putting together the pitch packet, like I said, I highly suggest having all those things in there. That way, an investor who might not personally know you, or maybe doesn't really believe in your vision, and all they're thinking about is money, they'd be like, oh, okay, they already got distribution. Good. Here's the check. But like I said, your bread and butter for investors is honestly going to be your the people that know you. Like I said, rather that be local business owners, rather that be your chiropractor, your nurse, whoever, it's going to be people who have a little bit of extra money. Again, they're not going to give you $100,000 to shoot your movie. You need to plan it out. But like I said, those $5,000-$10,000 checks, they add up. After you get 5-6 people in, you got enough money to shoot a movie, if you know what you're doing and you properly organize stuff, of course. But and that's also where it comes into, if you're trying to get bigger investors, which is what, like I said, I'm doing for my $500,000 film. And by the way, just so you guys know, a $500,000 in Arizona would be like having like a $4 million budget in Los Angeles. That's just how much cheaper it is to shoot there. So it can go a lot further. That's why I have no interest in shooting in LA, and neither does my crew. We don't want to waste money, because that'd be dumb. But anyways, it's called first money in. Now, it's kind of like, people like trends, right? And the problem is that if you go to investor B and C who don't know you, and you don't have a dime on the books proving you have anything financed back, I guarantee it's going to be 90% harder to convince them to give you money. Even if you have, I don't know, Malcolm McDowell attached to your project, or Mark Wahlberg or something. Well, okay, maybe at that level they would just throw you the cash. But my point is that's kind of where you use your friends and family and your business owners and people that know you and believe in you, or people that want to get into film that you personally know, to give you a couple $1,000s, or like I said, giving you that starter cash. So like with the film I'm currently financing, we put together about $50,000 just in first money in from business owners, friends, people like that, and then we took that. as our like kind of like our nest egg to expand to get, our first 100 grand, and you start growing like that. So first money in is very important too, but I would say more for when you're trying to make a film, let's say a quarter of a million or in above. Unless you just know Daddy Warbucks, who's just gonna throw you cash. But yeah, like as far as financing your first film, it's it's just all about timing, knowing business owners. Again, of course, with everything that happened last year, was a terrible year to get projects financed. I still got some money for projects, but on a normal year, yeah, it's pretty simple to get a project financed as long as you're willing to take the no's and the yeses, go to the offices, and like I said, start with people who know you. It's as simple as this. People hang out in the same groups. I'm a filmmaker. A lot of my friends are filmmakers or game designers or other people in entertainment or musicians. So we kind of hang out in the same bubble. It's the same thing. Business owners, who do you think they hang out with? They hang out with other business owners. So again, someone might like me and be like, oh, this guy Colten, check him out. Like, meet up with him. And then you're meeting up with a restaurant owner who owns 5 restaurants in Scottsdale or something. You never know. So just be open-minded with it. But like I said, like it's the bread and butter to finance a lower budget project or any kind of budget project, I think, is, like I said, just starting off with the people that you personally know, who personally know your quality of body of work and what you bring to the table. That way they're, like I said, I'm telling you, they're investing into you, not in your script, not in your actors, not anything you have on the ball. Like when I finance exposure, I'm telling you, none of my investors, they read the contract for like 5 seconds. I had investors send me money over PayPal who didn't even read the contract yet, just because they knew I wasn't bullshitting them. So if you come out honest with integrity and you show them a good quality body of work, you're going to get your projects financed. But that's where you start is, like I said, start simply with going to the business owners and people you know. Even if it's businesses that have nothing to do with film, maybe make a deal with them. A good example, I years ago out of high school, I worked part-time as a security guard, and it's a family-owned company in Arizona. And so I think it was 2-3 years ago, they gave me like 3 grand for a project. And basically then, like, the agreement is I would shoot like a little ad for them, which was simple to shoot. And then, but like on top of the 3 grand, they also gave me, access to their office space and their gun store. So like, it added some quality to the film. So it was kind of like a, double bonus for me. But anyways, like I said, I hope you guys find this advice useful to you. If you have any questions for me, feel free to email down. I'll leave my email below. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share this video. Like I said, this is just film advice that no one asked for. But I know, like on the forums, I see all the time people stuck. I wrote the script. What do I do next? I have an idea. How do I get money? Where do I talk to investors? We're investors. There's no just magic invest firm that's just sitting around with their golden monocle with money, monopoly money cane, waiting for filmmakers to come in. You have to really wedge that door down. But I'm telling you, if you do those steps, if you go put a good pitch deck together, if you get some D/C list actors attached, if you get some CD level distribution companies put together, and then you go and contact your friends and family who own businesses or maybe have a little bit extra money, and you get them to put first money in, you are going to get your project financed. Is it going to happen in a day? Maybe, if you're the best damn salesman ever. More than likely not, but it's going to happen. And again, I won't rant about it too long, but working with a lot of film students, and I used to be a tutor at the Art Institute in Arizona as well. I think this is one of the failures of film schools, is they don't teach you these steps. They teach you all the basics of making something on set. That's great. But I think everyone who gets into film wants to eventually make their own movie, right? I mean, at least that's what I did. I didn't want to get into film to be a PA or be someone getting Spielberg coffee. I wanted to shoot my own content. Like I said, I'll just end with a bit about me. I'm 25. I've shot, directed numerous projects as well as stuff for television. I've distributed stuff. I've financed or gotten projects financed. I've never went to film school. Everything I learned was from good old Indie Mogul for back in the day. Anyone that remembers that from I think it ended in 2011, so 10 years ago, geez. And Film Riot and stuff like that. And then everything else was just learning trial and error on set. I did one film class in high school, which was my sophomore year media productions class, one semester of it. And yeah, you don't need film school. Again, it helps to me. The benefit, of course, is for people maybe who never touched the camera, who are just trying to learn the basics. But you can make high quality films if you have an eye for it, you got the imagination for it, and if you got the attitude and integrity for it. Anyways, I hope you guys find this advice useful. Have a great day, and see you later.